Hello everybody, welcome back once again to Lutys Chainsaw Mods. Just wanted to talk about quickly. Okay, so I've got a Parker saw here, Parker CS580 58cc Chinese saw, and there's one of my tuned up saws. I'm not sure what model that is, but it's the same looking model as a Timber Pro. Now basically these are the same saws, all of them. I've got 3 of them and they're all exactly the same, to be honest. They've got different names on them, but they are the same. Okay. Now the first one I ever bought was a Timber Pro 58cc, kept it in standard form, used it for years, you know, did loads of logging with it. Bloody brilliant saw, 3.2 horsepower, plenty of power there just to do your logging and what have you. Very reliable. Anyway, as the years went on, that first one that I had, it wore out, and I ordered a cylinder, and in the meantime I was looking for another Timber Pro, and I couldn't find one, but it kept coming up with these Parkers. Now the Timber Pro have got yellow caps on it, so it's similar to that, but that one's got black caps. That's a different make. That's not a Timber Pro, it's something else, but it's the same. But the Timber Pro always had yellow caps on. Well, this Parker came, and obviously this has got yellow caps on, but looking at it, each time I searched for Timber Pro 58cc Chinese saw, excuse me, it came up with this one, this Parker. So I bought this. All right, I like the look of these. These are an imitation of Husqvarna, so they look a bit like them. They're designed like them. A lot of the Husqvarna bits will fit on these. You can put a load of bits off Husqvarna onto them if you want it. Like, but Husqvarna parts are expensive. Nothing wrong with the Chinese bits. They're decent, right? So yeah, this come, and I'd used this for some years, and this is standard, and it's my backup saw. I took one of my racing saws down on a job, a small job, and one of my stills, and I think because the racing ones is the high RPMs on it, it's cutting through the wood, and it ended up clogging around the chain with sawdust. I didn't have my scrunch with me, couldn't get the cover off to clean it out, so I put that back in the car, like, and I used this one. This one got me out the shit again, always does. Blinking good saw this is. So this, I got two of these modified, heavily modified, very powerful. I'm pretty sure that, well, this one's definitely pushing 6 horsepower, which is a lot for a 58cc saw. This one is standard, okay, but I like it because it always always does the job for me. Never lets me down. I've never had a problem with it ever. I think I've had it 10 years. Never ever let me down. Not once. Still running the same spark plug and everything, and it's just bloody brilliant, like. And yeah, really good saw. So you know, if anyone's interested in buying a Chinese saw as a backup saw or whatever, you know, get one of these Parkers. Are blinking brilliant, like. Now, I'm not getting any money for saying this. You know, it's just my opinion. You know, I've never had a problem with it. Chinese generally, yeah, they can have issues with the outside bits and pieces, like they'll break the pull start ropes. You know, you can have different issues. I got one that smashed the case. That one there smashed the case. It just backfired once, and bang, the bloody handle went straight through the case. You know, you do have problems. You know, what I do with mine, I spring load my handles. Now they're all spring loaded, and I just put a spring inside, And I also put rubbers around the bottom where it seats, just as add as a bit of a cushioning. Now you don't have to do that with these. These Parkers, they've got what they call easy start, so it's a fatter casing. That's how you can tell by looking at it. But what you're doing, you're pulling against the spring. You're winding the spring up, and then the spring's connected to the engine, so it's easier to pull. And when you pull it, obviously the spring pulls against the engine, and because it's a spring, it gives you that little bit more, that little few extra RPMs, you know. It'll turn a few more times. So that's why it's easy start, because it just turns over a bit more, a bit longer. So I never used to like this. It does feel funny, this easy start system, but I quite like it now, because it just makes it easier for starting. So yeah, they're really good. They come in different sizes, you know. I think it's I buy 58cc ones because I like tuning them up. 58cc motors, powerful enough as a start off, and when you're tuning them, you don't want one that's too big, because you're tuning it so it's got to have higher RPMs and higher power, and you don't want a big huge piston, because otherwise you're going to break something, you know. The lighter 58cc lighter are lighter, so they'll take a bit more stick, they will rev harder and faster, and they will take it. Even though, like, I mean, I lighten all the piston, I do everything on these when I tune them. Big intakes, big carburetor off a 372 Husqvarna, which is 72cc, and modified exhaust, fully ported, lightened piston, and all the windows in the piston are opened up. I do everything I can to them, you know. But keeping them as a usable saw, so I don't use expansion chambers. I play about with the exhausts. I have got one that is quite a well-tuned one, the other one of these. It's up in the other building up there. That's quite a well-tuned exhaust in that one. So yeah, they're good for modifying, but if you keep them like this, standard form, great logging machine. Really good, really reliable, never had a problem with it at all, ever. And I'm not getting any money for this whatsoever, I just thought I'd tell you. So yeah, they're good, I'd recommend them. I haven't had, like some of the makes obviously I haven't had, but to me, these are pretty much all the same. Yeah, they might call them something else. They have different names on them, but they are the same. I don't really like the look of this Parker, I'll be honest with you. I prefer them to look like the Husqvarna, and then I open the top up, look, put a sponge in the top to release the hot air away from the intake and allow it to draw in a lot more capacity of air. Now, if I do this, I could buy another top for this. You can buy these tops, these. I could buy them. You've got to change the lower section as well as the upper section. I've just tried swapping the tops over, and it's nowhere near. But the mounting points and everything else are exactly the same. It's just these two top casings that you'd have to change if you want to turn it into one of those. Which I don't know whether I will. I might just cut this one open when I do eventually tune this up. But at the moment, I'm keeping it standard because it is so reliable, you know. And I'm quite enjoying it. So now I've done 2 of these now, tuned up, and I'm you know, I'm going to run them, see how I get on with them. You know, see how they are, and make sure that they're okay and what have you, and then I might think about souping up that Parker, and I do them. Well, I did one. It took me, I don't know, I probably spent. I just it's my hobby, like doing them. So I spend days, hours, whatever on them, just trying different things, different ideas. There's a load of stuff on YouTube that I do under Lutys Chainsaw Mods if anybody's interested. It shows, you know, all the mods that I've gone through. You know, and some things are simple. I mean, like here I open up the clutch cover because I had one. I mean, these, because they're so powerful, they overcome the clutch. No worries. If the chain gets deep into the wood, the motor will just overcome the clutch, and then it'll just heat the clutch up. So the one thing I will be doing on them is I'll build a performance clutch. Well, I'll probably do on both of them, like see how it goes. I saw something on it on performance clutches for different units, you know, like small engines and what have you, and I thought I'd do that. And basically they make them so that they've got more contact with the drum. They'll carve up the shoes in the clutch and make them, you know, have more contact with the drum, more surface area, which gives them better grip. Because I know with these, if you carry on, if you just rag them through the wood, like I say, the motor will just overcome the clutch. No worries, just burn your clutch out in the end, overheat it, might even damage the crank seals. So that's something that I'll be doing in the future. But yeah, but those Timber Pros, the Parkers are good machines. So I just wanted to have a quick sort of look, show you some stuff on this. So this is an ms362c tronic. Now I've got rid of the tronics. When I had it, it wasn't sparking, which means 180 quid for a coil. Or a conversion back to the 362 instead of the 362c. Get rid of the tronics. So that's what I did. I converted it. So all you have to do with a conversion is you change the coil and the carburetor and the flywheel. Now the flywheel, this is an tronic flywheel for one of them. This is the old one off it. Now they've got a magnet there and they've got a magnet there. Now you can tell the difference because the ordinary 362 only has one magnet, doesn't have two magnets like this. They look exactly the same, but on the normal one, the one is just a weight, whereas this is a magnet either end. Okay. Now you've got inside there, you've got the woodruff key already moulded into the casing. Now I've got this going. When I first did this conversion, it flummoxed me a little bit. Blinking, you know, I could get it. It'd start, then it wouldn't start, then it'd start, then it wouldn't start. I tried different things. In the end, I got it started. Bit of easy start in it, and it was holding back. was holding back. I'm trying to tune the carb, because obviously I know that the carb was going to be nowhere near, you know. I set it to standard factory settings, about 3/4 of a turn on each jet to start with, but they're never right at that. So I'm running it, air filters off and everything, and I'm tuning it up, tuning the carb up. I'm not really getting anywhere, and then once it got warm properly, it would stop. And then I couldn't get it to start, and it felt a bit tight. I thought, well, because I'd put it was seized up, this was as well. Well, it wasn't seized up, it was the piston and bore was badly scored. The rings were all jammed in the piston and everything. It overheated for some reason. Changed the big end, changed the small end bearing, and a gudgeon pin, piston, cylinder and everything. So I ported it out. Now I bought a cheap cylinder. Again, 32 quid I think I paid for that. So it cost me 32 quid. Paid 30 quid for a carb, which they're about 150, and unless it's tronic it'd be even more, but the standard one's about 150 from sthil. The cylinder and piston, God knows what they'd cost. The coil, tronic coil's 180 quid. You know, it's just stupid money. This would never have been, I would never spend that money on one of these, not a used one. So anyway, so it's cost me about 30 quid for a cylinder and piston, 30 quid for a carburetor to do this conversion. The coil was 11 quid, and I got a flywheel from eBay, a used one off an ordinary 362, which I think I probably paid 30 quid for that. So you're looking probably 100 quid. Okay, so I've got myself an ms362 for about 100 quid now. Anyway, it was messing about, this saw was. Wouldn't want to run. I couldn't figure it out for a while. Put different coil on it, tried all different things, you know. And in the end, I did find out what it was. Now, I put bearings in this, crank bearings. So I completely stripped it. Now, I know it's crucial to get the crank dead center, but there's no sort of measurements as such, and it needs to be right within a millimetre. So I did the best I could. I measured things and what have you, and anyway, I built it, put it back together with my press, and I think to start with it wouldn't turn over properly. So I knocked the one side or the other in. I think it must have been the flywheel side, knocked it in. And it turned over, see. And so I thought, well, okay, so I hadn't got it central. Tried running it, like I said, it had issues. Sometimes it'd be tight, sometimes it'd be running, and it'd just cut out. And the blinking thing, it was bloody annoying me. I used to put it up, I just put it up, walk away. And then a while ago, well, not long ago, I actually found the issue with it. It was getting a bit better, a little bit better, and then what I was doing, I got a timing light here, see, and I thought to myself, I'd have a look at this timing, the ignition timing, and I checked it, and it was running at 8 degrees, which is about right. Now, I did think to myself about this. I thought, oh, that's okay. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if I just advance it a little bit, because at the end of the day, it's a spurious cylinder and piston. The heights potentially of all the ports and the transfers are going to really be slightly different to the OEM, which there's no way I was buying one of them. And effectively that's going to put all the port timing and everything out if they're not exactly the same. And I know that these are rated at, the 362c is rated at 4.8 horsepower. It's only 59cc, which is quite a lot of power really for a standard saw. So obviously still they spent a lot of time with transfer and port timing and ignition timing and all the rest of it to get them right. But then again, it was only going to work like that with a standard, just put this light off a minute. I don't know if that's better. It's only going to work like that with a standard cylinder and piston. Excuse me. So I ponder on ideas, you know, I have ideas in my head and what have you, ponder on these ideas. Maybe I was better with them lights on. Ponder on the ideas, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? What am I going to do here? Maybe it's better like that. What am I going to do here, you know? So I thought to myself, I wonder if, because it sounded like it was a bit retarded, so I wonder if I alter the timing, advance it. Now, as you've seen, the Woodruff key is moulded inside the flywheel in here, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge really. But anyway, I got the flywheel off. Now when I pulled the flywheel off, all the back of that flywheel there was straight, it's scored, you know, and the casing was a bit scored. Well, that was it. The blinking flywheel was touching the casing. So I thought, oh God, that's it. I found it like. So I took the outer casings off, put it in my press, and I've moved the crank across probably about half a mil. Moved it back across half a mil. It did move. I put a paint mark on it, and then it cracked the paint as it moved. So I thought, well, while I've got it off, I might still advance this timer. So again, I know it's crucial, etc. So I've done it by 1 degree. And the way I do these, I haven't got a timing wheel. So all you have to do, I'll just quickly tell you how I did it. I've got a piece of, it's like a ribbon really. And then, well, it's on the motor. You put this around, put a little pencil mark or something on the ribbon where it is, so you know how long it is. Measure that section in millimeters, and then you divide that by 360. It then gives you in degrees. So you do a conversion. So it was just shy of 360 mil, and it worked out to 0.97 of a millimeter to 1 millimeter. So that was 1 degree. 0.97 was 1 degree. So I now knew how to mark it up into degrees. So I've marked it all up. I made a key, Woodruff key, with a step in it. Cut out the old one and all the rest of it. and put it in, mopped the inside casing up, flashed it with my timing light. It came out at 9 degrees before TDC instead of 8 degrees, which was what I wanted. Anyway, it runs fine now, runs perfect. The only other thing I've had issues with, I bought this air cleaner because the other one wasn't brilliant, and this air cleaner never fitted properly. Never ever fitted properly. I don't know what it was with it. It was rubbish. So it kept vibrating off actually. So I thought to myself, after I got it running and everything, I thought that I'd have a look at this filter. Now I was going to just put another filter over here, buy a performance one or something, a sponge one. And then I looked at it and I thought, see, that is some sort of swill device, I think. It fits over there, like something like that. It fits over this shaft here. I've cut it off a little bit. It's a bit longer. That fits over there, and then your air filter will go that way. That way, I think. And then your air filter goes over the top, and then you get your air filter, and there's a little clip inside there, look, which clips onto what was the end of this. So you just turn that sort of half a turn and it clips onto it. So the first thing I thought about was, oh, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't like that, you know. I don't like that. It's whatever it's doing, whatever it does to it, it's, to me, it's a restriction. So I cut the end of this off and I threaded it out, got myself a bolt, cut a slot in the end of it, drilled a hole in the air cleaner in the middle, put your bolt in, and all you have to do, put that on. You can hold it on with this screw now. Tighten it up, and luckily the old clip section inside there acts as a stop, so it keeps it under tension, and it's brilliant. It's really good, that is. So if anybody out there has an issue with these, that's what I did, and it works flipping brilliantly. Just like I said, just drill it, put a screw in the end. You've got to drill the centre of that plastic shaft, but it's solid, it's not going anywhere now. So I thought I'd just share that. Yeah, so I'm pleased I've done that now. It's got I have bought, let's see if I've got another one actually. Buy these performance spark plugs. Okay, they're the same heat range as the standard one, which is 7. I couldn't get a hotter one. Lower the number, the hotter it goes, the hotter it runs in. So, I mean, a lot of people think a hot plug's going to blinking melt your piston or something stupid. But it doesn't work like that. It just means that it will function in a hotter environment if it's a hotter plug. So it was a 7. Okay, I couldn't get a hotter one, so a 6 would have been hotter. So I'm going to come up with a 7 anyway. But I thought it's quite interesting. Look, let's see what you can see. because it's got three earth prongs on it, and also the electrode, so the spark jumps across the side of the electrode, okay, and not on the end of the electrode, which means the electrode is longer, and therefore the spark is deeper into the mixture, into the cylinder in the mixture, so it's going in a bit deeper, so your spark is slightly further in. And also, because you've got 3 earth probes, it's got a better chance of actually sparking, because it'll spark across one of them. So they're pretty good, and they're not expensive. They do come from China. Now a lot of people are going to say, oh, Chinese rubbish. I've run them in one. I'm running these in 3 of my saws. Not had a problem yet without any of them. But also the other thing is, because it's got 3 earth probes, that's more material inside the combustion chamber, therefore raising your compression ratio, because it's something extra that's in there taking up space. So effectively it's going to raise your compression. Raise the ratio. So yeah, I thought that was good. They're not expensive. I think I pay about, I don't know, with delivery I think they're about £4. Just get on if you're interested in having one. Just, I mean, get on Google, it'll come up. And you can get them in the small plugs as well, like some of the 017s have very narrow threaded plugs. You can get them in them as well. They're good. Well, so far they've been good anyway. So yeah, I thought I'd just share that with you. I'm pleased I've cured this. I've got a, you know, nice 362. It's not a 362c now, it's just a 362, ms362. I don't like them tronics. They, you know, obviously there's a certain weird way you've got to set them, run them idle for, I don't know, 10-20 seconds, and then rev it up for another 10 seconds or something until the note changes, and then that's it then. But I prefer to adjust it myself manually. You can set them how you want. You can set it a little bit rich if you want it. Help your saw last a bit longer. Because, I mean, this one, see, this had burnt up. And it makes me think, you know, did the tronics have something to do with that? Was it, you know, can they cope? I mean, how do you know whether or not your carb's got an issue, you know, a blockage or something? How would you know? Because you just trust the tronic sets itself. So, you know, I don't know. That's why I don't like them. But at least if you're tuning them manually, you would think, oh, well, this isn't working or that's not working. There could be an issue with the carburetor. So it's easier to diagnose for a start. Also, you lose the spark. You can bang £11 coil on one of these now. 11 quid, there you go. Going again now. Tronics, £180. I don't want to be throwing that kind of money at a bloody, it's only a chainsaw at the end of the day. So I'm really glad and pleased that now I've got this converted now. So there's a flywheel here for an tronic if anyone wants one, but I doubt I'll be able to sell it. You know, I don't know why you'd want to convert a normal saw to a tronic, because I just don't like it. Do not like it whatsoever. You know, give me manual carburetor and ignition any day over something electronic. So, oh yeah, that's the other thing. I've put you can see the green tubes going up to the jet adjustments, high and low. Well, I put tubes all in through here, and so they go right up to the jets, because with this you cannot, well, I can't, it's difficult to blooming well adjust the blinking it's difficult to adjust the carburetor on these with the cover on. Getting the flipping cover on's another thing. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, it's difficult. Get this cover on. Well, now all you have to do now, you see, because like these tubes go right over the jets, you're straight onto the jets, straight onto them. You know, that's a good mod, that is. Just little bits of nylon tube. You know, whatever you've got lying around, I suppose. But yeah, that is a really good mod, that is. It's got that's another thing I had to buy. I had to buy another one of these side casings, because the one that I had with it had a huge chunk missing out of it. So, but yeah, it's still only perhaps just over £100 it's cost me this. You know, and I've got well, pretty much a new saw now. You know, non-OEM cylinders, they are okay, to be honest with you. They might not last as long as an OEM, but at the end of the day, if it lasts, I know, lasts me 3-4 years, I'll be happy. That'll do me. I've got enough saws now where I don't really have to use one saw all the time, constantly, and I switch them around, use different saws. But yeah, this is it's all right now. This.